Welcome to County Fair on Waycross Community Media. We're going to keep you connected to the different parts of your county government. So today we have in the studio County Auditor Jessica Miranda. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start by just doing a quick overview of what are the overall duties of the auditor's office.
Yes, so first and foremost, let me just say, you covered it well, but I served as the president of the Winton Woods School Board for a while, and all three of my children still go to Winton Woods. My oldest is a senior this year, so I'm feeling some sort of way about that, but I'm surviving. And I, of course, have a passion for fair school funding because of my work on a local school board. I talk a lot about the replenishment of local government funding, and this will obviously create a better economic opportunity for Hamilton County residents. And then I'm born and raised here in Ohio. My three daughters and I and my husband live in Forest Park with our dog and our cat, and I'm just so honored and privileged to be able to serve the entire county now versus just my school district community or just my state house district. Now I have the privilege of serving the entire county as the county auditor, and last year I arrived in April, so I was appointed to this position in April. We had a tough year because we were coming out of a 6-year appraisal process. We have to do those every 6 years based on state law, and there was a lot going around in the community about what the auditor does and what the auditor doesn't do, a lot of confusion about what the auditor does. So I wanted to make sure that we brought this presentation to you. This is kind of our traveling road show, if you will. We're going to be taking this to the city of Springdale and all kinds of other municipalities all over the county, as well as my fellow elected officials, to give this presentation to them so that we can all consume it in the same way and know what your county auditor does for you, because I think it's important for everyone to know what their elected officials are supposed to be doing for them.
And I know I reached out about, hey, we want to talk about what does the auditor do, and you already had this ready to go.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. You were, oh, by the way, that's already something we're doing. We're ready to come in.
Yes.
Which also means if you're watching this and you're thinking, I feel like my group needs to hear this, then that's a clue. They can reach out. They can watch this video. You can share it with them. But
Yes.
also, if there are people you want a real life person in front of to get to see this presentation, that's your goal. That's what you're bringing it to.
Yes, thank you for that plug. That was very meaningful. We're giving this presentation to many people. We've done the Cincinnatus Association. We presented about the homestead credit with them. We are speaking to an architectural firm, all kinds of, anywhere we can go. We travel around to real estate offices. So if you want me to come and give this presentation or talk to your group, contact us and let us know.
Let's do our overview. Let's talk about what the responsibilities are.
Yes, so first and foremost, your county auditor is the chief financial officer of the county. That means all of the county's bills and all of the county's money comes through our office. So think of it as accounts receivable and accounts payable, which is why it is so very important for your county auditor's office to be transparent and accountable, because we're handling all of the money for the county. We're also the real property assessor. We assess there's about 350,000, give or take, couple properties in Hamilton County, industrial, residential, and commercial, as well as farmland. We assess all of the values for those properties across the county. Now, everyone typically knows that we do a mass appraisal every 6 years. We also do what's called a triennial appraisal every 3 years, but we're looking at these properties every single year. So we're looking for new construction, permits are coming in and out, things are getting updated on people's processes and properties every year. So it's not like we just disappear and then we come in every 3 and 6 years. We're always there, and our property appraisers are always doing their job. Next, we run and administer the County Board of Revision. So there is a process outlined under Ohio state law. If you do not agree with the market value that has been assessed to your home, you can file a complaint at the County Board of Revision. It's a tripod approach, if you will. It's your county auditor, that is the secretary of that and administrates the program. The commission president is the second person that sits on that, and the county treasurer. So there's 3 of us and our designees that sit on that board to decide cases and allow property owners owners to come before us and plead their case on why they think the value should be different. We also run the County Budget Commission, so that controls all of the county's municipalities' budgets, you name it. Every department in the county, the Department of Health, everything, we're running those budget commissions. We administer the rental registration program. Fun fact, if you own a rental property in Hamilton County, you have to register that property under Ohio law. And the place you do that is with the county auditor's office. Now, some municipalities, some cities, villages, townships have their own rental registration program if they choose to do that on their own, but you have to register your rental property with the county auditor. And that's important for consumer protection as well. We released a press release, I forget, one of the later months of 2024, because we were getting a lot of calls in our office about rental scams. People were saying they were going to rent XYZ property to a person, and that property wasn't actually theirs or for rent at all, and they were stealing people's money. So we got wind of that, made sure that we put out a press release, and there is a fee that we can, assign to someone if they do not register their property for rent. So very, very important process. The other two important things that we do is the homestead exemption, which is for folks 65 and older that meet a certain income guideline, can get a tax credit, essentially, on their property taxes. And then the owner occupancy credit. If you own and live in your home, you get a credit on your property taxes. So go to our website, very, very important, hamiltoncountyauditor.org, click on property search, first and foremost, look up your property and make sure you have those two credits and exemptions if you need them. And if you don't have them, give our office a call or shoot us an email and my staff will make sure that gets fixed for you.
And this is a long list, but more people out there who are looking to rent, they can check to see if the property they're looking to rent is on your registry.
That's right. They can make sure that there is a rental registration, and they can actually pull up that registration form from our website and see if the person they've been talking to about renting the property is the actual person that owns it. That way, you're making sure you're not getting scammed out of your hard-earned money. So really quickly, we also do dog licensing for the entire county. Another fun Ohio state law, if you own a canine, you have to get it licensed every year, or we provide the opportunity for a permanent license. We have kennel licenses, dangerous dog licenses, whatever you need for your furry friend, we have it. And we really, really encourage folks. We're going to be doing a lot of public education around this and the rental registration program coming up soon, because I think it's just great to always keep that public education and awareness going, especially for things that are the law. And then one of my favorite parts of what we do is the dream team of weights and measures. I have 3 amazing staff members who take care of over 5,000 gas pumps across the county. They take care of God knows how many grocery stores, farmers markets, farm and cattle, or anything like that we have in the county. Our guys are making sure that you are getting what you're paying for. We go into Kroger often. We go into all of the other name brand grocery stores often to make sure that that meal pack that you see right when you walk in is not only the right amount of ounces, but you're getting charged appropriately and you know what you're purchasing. Or if you go to the deli and you want that shaved turkey for your lunches, we're making sure that pound of turkey that you get is actually a pound of turkey by testing the weights in that deli. So this is a very cool arm of the auditor's office, our consumer protection arm, if you will. We test milk. We make sure that you're getting the gallon of gas that you're getting at the pump. And if you ever look at your gas pump when you go and pump your gas, you'll see my sticker on there. That means we've been there, we've sealed it, and it's good to go. If you don't see my seal there, that's a problem. Give us a call and we'll send our guys out ASAP. But they are checking these year-round, round-the-clock, making sure all of the consumers here in Hamilton County are protected. And one more thing I want to say about weights and measures. We have the ability to test fuel here in Ohio if we wanted to. My predecessor, the amazing Bridget Kelly, worked on this bill when we served in the state legislature together for probably almost 6 years. She worked on this. It was a bipartisan bill every time. Ohio is one of 3 states that does not check our fuel quality, which if you think about it is very, very scary, because that means all of these fuel companies around the world and around the country know the 3 states where they can go to maybe get rid of a bad batch of fuel. And our state will not say anything because we don't test it. So we fought really, really hard for this bill in the State House. Unfortunately, it never passed. The Department of Agriculture should be funding this so that maybe county auditor offices like ours can actually be testing the fuel, because we receive complaints all the time. There is a function on our website. You can click on fuel complaints. It's called the fuel complaint form. If you go to a gas station and something happens to your car, it was clearly a bad batch of fuel, you're having problems. We unfortunately had a problem with a gas station where it was like 7 cars in a row that pulled off after pumping gas and they all broke down. So it was clear something was going on there. Anyway, long story short, the form, fill it out. Unfortunately, it is still a paper form on our website, but we are in the process of updating our website where that can be an electronically submitted form. That way we know about it faster and can get out there faster for you. But that is a problem. And I think that is something that people in Hamilton County and consumers all over the state should know about and should demand that their state lawmakers do better and make sure that we put some mechanism in place to test the fuel that we're putting in our cars. And then, of course, we do a bunch of other duties as assigned by statute. You've heard of TIFs, I'm sure.
Yes.
You do a lot of programs where you talk to locally elected officials about TIFs. I used to serve on the Forest Park Economic Development Commission where we talked about TIFs all night long. We sit and go to every TIRC that there is, Tax Incentive Review Council around the county. So Green Townships was on Monday night. We have Anderson Township we did a couple weeks ago. Cincinnati's, we help them as well. So your county auditor is there making sure that all of that work that your local municipality is doing in terms of tax incentives is the right way, and that it's transparent, and then it's accountable to the people of our county. So we love serving the community in Hamilton County, but we of course do not do it all. We get a lot of calls and emails to our office of things we don't do, and we are happy to send them to the office that they need to go to get this done and help out any way we can. But we do not collect the property taxes here in Hamilton County. That is your county treasurer. So Jill Schiller, our county treasurer, does that piece of the work. We do not manage deeds. That is the county recorder. So our county recorder, Scott Crawley, does that work and much more. We don't provide surveys and maps. I got this question at a weekend event we did just last Saturday.
Okay.
They were like, hey, I don't think my neighbor's fence is on their property. I think it's encroaching on my property. Can you help me with that? And I said, we do not do that, but I know the guy that can, and that's your county engineer, or go to your local municipality as well, because like here in Forest Park, we have a whole building and permit department that can help with that as well. And then of course, we do not make abatement policy or tax policy whatsoever. That is a combination of your locally elected officials, county government, and state government. So I don't make votes anymore like I used to do in the state house and on the school board, and I don't get to have a say in those policies, but your local political subdivision does.
And that's why we have a county fair program, so that we can talk about these different divisions of county government and who does what.
Right.
But it sounds like it's good to know if they aren't sure and they call your office, you'll help them find the right department.
That's
anyway.
absolutely right. That's right.
Okay. But I think the biggest thing is property taxes. Because you do the assessments, I think people tie it together in their heads. No matter what the Facebook post said, you don't do the property taxes.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Let's talk about what that means then, that you work in values.
Yeah. So your county auditor's office works in values. Like I've explained a little bit already, we do this every 3 years, mass appraisal every 6 years, but we're looking at this every year because what we are statutorily obligated to do is to appraise and value all real property in the county at what's called fair market value, or FMV. That is what we are prescribed to do by state law. So how do we do that? We do that by valuing all real property in the county. And like I said, there's about 350,000 parcels. So my team has its work cut out for them. But we get that done every year, every 3 years, and every 6 years. And it moves with the market, I think is the most important thing that I want to talk about today. And then if you want me to come back and talk in more depth, we can certainly do that. But you have to always remember that fair market value is going to ebb and flow differently in different areas of the county, right? Some municipalities in our county still haven't fully recovered from the global pandemic. Some have recovered and then some. So there's going to be ebbs and flows all over the county based on fair market value, and that's why you see the differences from municipality to municipality, whether you live in a village, a township, or a city. So property value is, of course, a part of the formula for calculating property taxes, but it is not the only variable. So, for example, if your property goes down 5%, it doesn't necessarily mean your property taxes go down 5%. Why? Combination of tax policy and voted levies is mostly what impacts your taxes. So there is a great function on our website. You're going to hear this ad nauseum. Our website is a great place for information. But if you go to that property search tab, like I mentioned before, you type in your property, it's going to pull up your property summary page. And on that property summary page, you can click on tax detail. And we actually have a very colorful pie chart that will pop up and tell you the percentage of your taxes and where it is going. So whether it's going to the Hamilton County Library, it's going to Winton Woods City School District, it's going to the mental health levy, everywhere your tax dollars from property taxes is going is on our website for you to see. Again, very accountable, very transparent. That's what we strive to be as your county auditor's office. So
I just want to pause on that for a second, because that pie chart is kind of everything. A lot of what people don't understand when they, my taxes are so high because I live here, and I don't know, this is on my ballot and I can't understand why this entity needs more. That pie chart will tell you your taxes aren't all going to that one entity. It's going to your city, village, township.
Yep, right. And I want to expand on that just a little bit and say that people are probably going to be alarmed when they look at the pie chart at first glance, and they're going to say, 54% of my property taxes are going to my local school district. I don't even have kids in the school district, or my kids are already graduated. Whatever that may be, unfortunately, that is normal in Ohio. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to try not to get too far up on my soapbox, but this is exactly what I fought for almost 6 years for in the State House, which is fair school funding. Right now, since 1984, our school funding formula here in the state of Ohio has been unconstitutional, deemed by the Ohio Supreme Court themselves. The way in which we fund schools, public schools here in Ohio, is unconstitutional. Why? Because it's too much of a burden placed on property owners to pay that. In other words, the state should be putting in more money for fair school funding and for public schools. Unfortunately, there is a movement afoot at the state to continually defund public schools in the form of vouchers, and that is alive and well and happening right now at the State House. We have already paid $1 billion with a B dollars of our tax money to unaccountable and non-transparent charter and private school options. Now, I am not against those options for kids, but our only constitutional duty under the Ohio Constitution is to fund education. That is our pipeline. Those are our children. That is what we should be doing as a state, and we are not putting our money where our mouth is on this issue. And that is why when you go to the pie chart, you'll see that most of your property tax dollars is going to your local school, because they have to do levies. They have no choice. They are not getting what they need from the state budget. And since the universal vouchers was passed in the last biennium budget of the state, not only have we spent $1 billion of our dollars on unaccountable schools, but it's getting worse as far as the unconstitutionality versus the constitutionality of how we fund schools. It used to be something like 40-something% constitutionality of how we fund schools. It's dropped now to 37%. So we're getting worse. We're going backwards. That burden is still very heavily on property owners when there are states across our country that do this differently or put more of a priority of funding public schools. I know and understand levies can be very, very hard on people, especially elderly Ohioans on fixed incomes. We know that, right? We know that's a problem. but they still haven't moved at the state level to fix it. And that is where we need people, especially the folks that are being hurt the worst, to contact their state lawmakers, ohiohouse.gov, where you can look up your state lawmaker, your lawmaker in the House, and then ohiosenate.gov to find your state senator. And even the governor, throw him in there too. All three of them, contact them and let them know that, this game of tax shifting and pushing the burden back on property owners is not something you support, and you want a fair tax policy, which would include things like fair school funding, the constitutionality of it, and restoring our local government fund so that, places like where I live here in the city of Forest Park, the second largest city in the county, I might add,
Yes.
doesn't have to put a fire levy on the ballot, right? They need a new fire engine. They can't afford it because their state funds have been cut off by 50%. Again, another tax decision that was done at the state level. And so now they have to ask property owners to fund that fire engine. And it shouldn't be that way. The state has the money. They should be putting the money where it matters the most.
Now, we're talking about the discrepancy and the difference between the different areas. We have a slide up for the 3-area comparison.
Yes.
So let's take a look at that.
Yes, so we wanted to pull down a parcel in 3 different areas that has relatively the same value, right? Around $236,000 is this parcel. These are real parcels, by the way, across the county. The first one is located in a large municipality. The second one is located in a mid-sized municipality. And the third one is located in a small municipality. Now, the value is the same, but look at this. The tax rate is different. Why? A combination of the levies that have been approved in those municipalities and the tax rate assigned to that municipality by the state. Because remember, your county auditor's office does not control the tax rate. And we certainly do not make the tax policies. So on that first one, large municipality, $236,000 in value. The real property current tax they're paying is a little over $5,000 in that large municipality. Next one, mid-sized, same value, but they're paying a little over $4,000 in real property taxes. Small one, same value. You get the theme here, but the current property tax is about $3,300 for their property taxes. So you can clearly see it's not just based on the size of the municipality, it's based on the tax policy of that municipality, how you are paying different property taxes in different areas of the county based on that. And again, property values are just one factor of this. It's not the only factor affecting your tax liability.
And just, that's something to really look at here, because that's where people were confused, I think. I saw people saying, mine went up and theirs went down, and we have the same number at the top of the chart there.
Right.
And I think they did it wrong, kind of thing like that. And it's because every political subdivision, town, village, township, has a different sum of taxes, because like you said, it's not just one tax, it's the levies, it's if their school district has something, if the county, we all have the county ones, but then on top of the county ones. And so in this example, that small municipality, maybe they didn't have, their district didn't have extra levies. Their little town didn't need to get another fire truck because there's only maybe 3 houses in it. I don't know.
Right, and I will expand a little bit and just say it also depends on what type of levy it is, right? There are 4 different types of levies available to local municipalities here in Ohio. Some of them are voted levies, some of them are unvoted levies, which means the municipality is taking a vote to make a decision on a tax policy that they don't have to send to the voters. That really affects the tax rate within your respective municipality based on what type of levy that is. Now, we don't have a slide for it, but we can come back and talk about that another time, because that's a longer, more complex discussion for what municipalities have available to them here in Ohio to create different types of cash flows. Because again, remember, they're getting cut from the state to the tune of about 50% over the last 13 years. They're no longer getting what they once were. And they have to come up with creative solutions to find that cash flow to get it back.
So that percent number doesn't come from you. That's given to you.
Yes.
The appraisal number is what your staff works on. That's the one part of that equation that comes from your office.
Yes.
So let's talk about how that appraisal number happens.
Yeah. So touched on this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to talk about it again. Real estate and reappraisals, Ohio law dictates their cycles, right? We as county auditors have to do the triennial, which is every 3 years. We have to do the mass appraisal, which is every 6 years. And then every year we're looking and getting information from property owners on things we need to change based on permits, based on abatements, based on new construction. We have a whole new construction team, so we have people that are working on this 24/7. We have to value based on fair market value. The cycle begins with a reappraisal and reevaluation of all properties. 3 years later, we do the triennial. And by the way, we tell folks about these a year or a year and a half in advance when these are coming up.
Okay.
There was a rumor going around in the community when we were coming out of the mass appraisal, the 6-year one, and folks were like, I didn't know this was going to happen. They only gave me 2 months' notice. We send letters to every parcel and property owner in the county. And we tell locally elected folks that this is coming. So we are getting the information out as best as we can. We're trying to be as accountable, as transparent as possible, so that these things don't come as a surprise to people. But if you ever get a piece of mail that says from your county auditor, Jessica Miranda, please look at it and please check it, because it could very well be your revalue
We
letter.
also discover this when they say, like, here's your voting location or all
Yes.
of those things. Look at your mail.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's important.
Just look at your mail. But also,
right.
if you're not the property owner, you won't get it. The property owner will get it.
Yes.
So if I
Absolutely.
guess if you're just not sure what's coming up, you can keep an eye on it. We
Yeah.
know what's coming. It's on your website.
Yeah. And then last thing from this slide is our last reappraisal was in 2023. So that was the mass 6-year appraisal. This means the taxes are payable in 2024. So one thing I want to point out about our website is you can go on there, search your property, see that beautiful, colorful pie graph. Always know it's 1 year in arrears, right? We're always in the tax year previous to the current year that we're in. So another great thing that we like to go around and tell real estate offices is that on that same page, your property summary in our website, if you're looking to buy a home, we actually have a calculator there where you can put in the purchase price of your home, and it will give you an estimate of what your property tax calculation will be based on the value of that home. Now, again, it's the year in arrears, but it's still giving you an approximate guesstimate so that there's no surprises, right, when you purchase a home. You're getting that good faith estimate and all of the closing paperwork from your mortgage lender and your real estate professional, but we go a step above and beyond to put that information on the website to help people and consumers as well. So this is a lot of information that we have on our website. We have so many downloads, so many forms, so many tools. Again, it's hamiltoncountyauditor.org. It's your one-stop shop for various reports that we publish, forms that you may or may not need to fill out, announcements. Every press release that I send out is always going to be on the front page, unless we update the website and it goes somewhere else, but it will be there. And the tools hosted by our office. So anything from a BOR complaint form to tax year information per subdivision to an application for your dog license, everything is on the website. So this is our newly updated Board of Revision part of our website. So again, when you come to our home page, there will be icons on both sides of the page. First one you'll see is property summary. Next one is Board of Revision. It'll bring you right here. And as a property owner here in Hamilton County, you can contest the property value by filing a complaint with the board. I will say the dates are very important on this, because by state law, we can only take complaints from January 1 of any given year to March 31st of the year. So the deadline is coming up soon. So I want to make sure we're being mindful of that and telling folks about that as well. But everything you need is here. All of the forms right here on the top. And if you keep scrolling on this part of our webpage, we even have a Q&A section telling you what is good evidence for your case, what you'll need to bring, how you need to prepare. And then, of course, these are all of the status reports from the BOR from years past. And we also have an app. Just FYI, you can download the Hamilton County Auditor app.
Oh, that's
it'll
great.
it'll come up just like this, and you'll be able to search everything as you do from the regular web page. And the last thing I'll say about the Board of Revision, if I can mention it, we have shot a series of videos to help address what the Board of Revision process is, covers a lot of the Q&A and functions of the website. But again, just trying to figure out the best ways for which we can get this information to the people of Hamilton County. So that is to come. It won't only just be on the website, but we'll put it on our social media and everywhere else we can get it to make sure the information is getting to the people. And to be clear, we have 3 forms of social media: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can find all of the information. Please go and follow, click like, everything that we can get to you, we are putting on that page as well. Because we know people are busy and people find information in different ways. And it's historic that we have our own social media pages now because this office has not had those before.
All right, let's look at some other tools.
Yes, so we have tax and sales info. So this is what the property summary page looks like when you go and look up your property on our website. You can see there are so many things down the side here that you can look at. You can look at all the levy information, your appraisal information, the transfer history, who has owned your house before, even your tax distributions where that pie chart is. And fun fact, we keep images of all of the real property here in Hamilton County dating back to the early 2000s, and we even have the 90s as well if you wanted to, have that. So we have pictures, aerial images, all kinds of great information here. And if you click on this appraisal area portion of the property summary, you click on sales and you can see sales information on similar properties like yours in your area, which is very helpful if you are wanting to file a Board of Revision case.
Or if you're just nosy and you sort of want to see what's happening in your area. Okay, yes, I'm a fan.
Yeah, or maybe you're looking to sell your house
Yes.
soon and you want to see what you want to put as your asking price.
Okay.
Very fair market value, helpful tools there as well. All right, next slide is talking more about the website tools via all of our different departments. So we covered this a little bit earlier about what we do and what we don't do. This page tells you every single department that is under our purview in your county auditor's office. So again, our dog licensing page, estate tax, property taxes, weights and measures, rental registration, everything you need is here, and a very easy way to find the forms based on what you're trying to look for. But of course, if you ever can't find something or need something else, you can always email or call us.
This is the place you go to click through to get that dog license.
Yes, and our page is fully capable to submit your dog license application or renew it or purchase a different type of license fully automatic on our website. So you'll get the paper copy in the mail. Again, if you get a piece of mail with my name on it that says County Auditor, please open it.
It's
It is
real.
vital information. So you can do it, the old-fashioned way, sending the check in the mail, or you can also purchase it online now. So
Okay, let's look at some more tools. I know you have downloads now too.
yes. So here we have so many reports that we publish for the public's view and transparency. So we literally have a report on our website where you can go and see the collection rates for property taxes based on your municipality. And it's a comparable report to last year versus this tax year. Because again, there was a lot of communication going out from various news sites in our county saying that there was going to be this big crisis because of property tax values and how that translates to property taxes, and that people are struggling, and that is true, people are struggling. But you can go and look at that report and see what that difference is, if any, within your municipality. So I could literally go on there, look at the city of Forest Park, see how many people in terms of a percentage paid their property taxes last year versus this year. And we have seen with that comparison that there is not much of a change. So people are still paying their taxes, they're paying them on time, and they're getting it in there. And if you compare this 6-year mass appraisal cycle to the last 6-year mass appraisal cycle, it was about the same. We had the same amount of BOR cases. Nothing is too out of the ordinary as the numbers are concerned, but there is significantly a big amount of tax policy that needs to be fixed at the state, and even maybe some help that could come from some local municipalities, which I won't get involved in the local municipalities, but I will tell you about the state.
Yeah. But you actually come with experience of what's happening in the state because you just left the State House. Yeah. So that's really helpful.
Yeah.
And that's the two part of, if you're listening to a news report, I guess they said the auditor's office was at the top of a list, so we'll just say everything was because of the auditor's office. But the assessment is what comes from your office, although that's, by law, you have to go do that.
Right.
And then part of the equation is the percent of tax, which is going to vary across the whole county, and you do not control what that is. That number is coming from your county, and it's coming from your municipalities and your school districts.
Yes. And most importantly, the state, because the state approves.
Yes.
The state has the final say in everything we do as your county auditor's office.
And then these reports give us the chance to go a step further in our reporting and saying, okay, well, let's look. Let's see if they did all default, because it was a horrible, horrible jump.
Right.
And you can actually look at actual payment statistics that say, looks like the same percent we're able to pay this time.
Yes.
So, okay. And I just wanted to review that, because there are sources to look these things up.
That's right.
You don't have to kind of say, well, it sounds like, or I would think that. And that's generally, if you hear someone start anything with a phrase, I would think that translates to, I don't know that. That's a pro tip. That's not necessarily part of this presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's important to know that we don't have to put all of these reports on there. We choose to do that to maintain the level of transparency and accountability that we want to with our community, which is the county of Hamilton. So, we keep that report, taxes collected year over year, as a courtesy to both the county treasurer and to the people of Hamilton County, so that they can look at that and assess it for themselves. So you don't have to do a grandiose public records request. It's all there, live and in full effect on the website for you. So
now, we mentioned at the beginning homestead exemption. This is really important, and this is something I know a lot of viewers will want to know about. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So if any of the viewers watching today does not go to ohiohouse.gov or ohiosenate.gov for any other reason for which I have outlined, let it be for this one.
Okay.
The homestead exemption has been completely watered down over the last decade to 13 years, and I'll tell you why. The homestead exemption, first and foremost, is a program that the state of Ohio has approved that provides a reduction in your property taxes for those who are 65 and older, which are the folks that need it the most, arguably, right? If you are a qualifying elderly Ohioan or disabled citizen, that dwelling is your primary place of residence. You can get you can get this credit if your gross income was less than $38,600. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Unfortunately,
really low.
Yes, that is very, very low. First and foremost, we know that's a struggle for a lot of people to qualify because of that. But also, this has not been indexed for inflation. It hasn't been changed much over the last 15 years.
Okay.
And when Governor Strickland was in office, this exemption used to be you're 65 and you're older, that's it, you get it. That's it. That's the only requirement. And it was helping. Here in Hamilton County, I forget the exact numbers, but we have far less people benefiting from the homestead exemption now than we did 13 to 15 years ago. Why? Because a different administration came in at the State House, a different governor, and they installed this income guideline requirement, making it no longer an age threshold. So it's age and, when it should just be, in my humble opinion, age. 1970, Ohioans voted and approved the creation of this exemption. 2007, Governor Strickland removed the income restrictions for the exemption, which expanded its impact entirely. I wish I would have brought the Hamilton County specific numbers with me, but we can send those to you later. It's crazy if you look at them. It's something like 15,000 was benefiting from it then. Now it's only like 3,000, or it's some gigantic difference like that that clearly shows you, based on tax policy, how that directly affects the bottom line of property owners here in our county.
And I feel like an income restriction in itself isn't necessarily a bad idea. I feel like that's just a very low income restriction.
Yes, if it were indexed for inflation, it would be higher than that, right?
So are there statistics on how much, when that was removed, is there statistics on what a difference it made in what we were able to collect? Was it able to fund
Yes,
more?
I'm sure there is. Yes, I have that somewhere. I used all of these statistics in a press conference that we did, so we can pull those for you. In 2014, Governor Kasich came in, he reinstated the income restrictions, which greatly limited this program's reach, and it greatly watered down the benefit that folks are getting in the first place off of their property tax bill, because it's not indexed for inflation, right? So today, the Kasich era income restrictions are unfortunately still in effect. We had introduced a multitude of property tax reform bills at the State House. One of them was House Bill 60 last General Assembly, introduced by my good friend Representative Dan Troy from up in Northern Ohio, and it unfortunately did not go anywhere.
I think the next slide too shows a visual of what that difference in impact
Yes,
looks like.
Here it is, perfect. So what does this mean for our county here in Hamilton County? Because it has not been adjusted for inflation since 2014, it is significantly diminished the impact that it has for our elderly Ohioans. So this is a recap of all of the things I just talked about, but you can clearly see here in this graphic that if your average home value was $155,000, you were getting about $565 back on your property tax bill, or you were getting this benefit from the homestead exemption alone. Now, the average exemption value is about 7.4% increase. It's only $607 now. So the value of the home has shot up, but the exemption has not. It has not been utilized in the way it should be via good tax policy to keep that, to continually have that be of value to homeowners.
I mean, it's not the same percent of what they were getting before.
Right, because it's not indexed for inflation.
I mean, it's greatly not the same percent. The house is nearly doubled, or so to speak.
So unfortunately, what this does is it makes the homestead exemption not an attractive exemption anymore. You know, folks say, well, that's not going to help at all on my $4,000, $5,000 tax bill. It won't do much, right? And that's why we've been fighting and fighting and fighting. The County Auditors Association of Ohio, which represents all 88 county auditors in the state, this is our number one thing that we talk about with state lawmakers, is the advocacy for not only indexing this exemption for inflation, bringing it to be a higher value for homeowners to even participate in it, but to take that income requirement off, period, and take it back to what it was under Governor Strickland.
And it looks like your next slide tells us basically what we're talking about.
Yes.
Why is this important? And who do I need to call to tell them I also think this is important? So if you're watching this and you're thinking, actually, I would like to talk to someone about this. Here's some information about that. But also here's why, tell us why Jessica Miranda wants us to know that this is important. You know, like you said, the whole organization of auditors is saying this is important. So let's go down.
It's our number one issue of our top four. So first and foremost, the retention of our elderly Ohioans is paramount to strong local government. One of the simplest fixes the legislator could have done before they broke for summer recess and for election recess last year is they could have fixed this for all Ohio seniors. Lower income seniors need this exemption to stay in their homes. That's a huge push from our nonprofit organizations here in Hamilton County. The Council on Aging, Pro Seniors, they work very, very hard based on some research and statistics they have to keep our elderly Ohioans in their home. They want to stay in their home. They don't want to go to facilities, right? They want to stay in their home. They cannot do that with the current homestead exemption the way it is. It has to be better. So without exempting, those seniors outside the income threshold, Ohio seriously risks losing those seniors to other states with better financial benefits. And I don't know about you, but I've seen it in my own family. One set of my grandparents moved to South Carolina specifically based on tax policy. My grandma said, there's no taxes on my annuity in South Carolina. That's where we're going. And I said, no, don't leave. And they left. People will make these decisions for what is the best for them.
Smart family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really impressed with that.
She was an accountant at the children's home for a long time, so she knows.
Okay. But I mean, highlighting the importance, but also I'm impressed with your family.
Yeah. So the state of Ohio, in my opinion, as your county auditor, has to do everything it can to support property owning seniors. There's been a number of bills introduced that are specifically geared towards property tax reform for seniors and elderly Ohioans, but none of them have moved through the legislative process, which in my opinion is an outright assault to elderly Ohioans all across our state. They should be the ones that we are taking care of other than our babies. So we want to make sure that Ohio is not only a place that people want to come to live, learn and play, but to stay here and retire here. And they can't do that right now with this homestead exemption. It is providing the least amount of benefit it could when they could make some simple changes at the state level to make it more impactful. So in many ways, seniors are the backbone of our society. They are strong voters. They are strong role models, i.e. my grandma, volunteers, and they have been solid financial contributors to their communities. We talked about fair school funding earlier. Their kids may not be in the schools, but they are contributing to the schools. We want to make sure that they're getting the best bang for their buck in all of the programs Ohio has to offer. And unfortunately, the homestead exemption has just fallen behind. And we need to make this better for...
And homeowners are invested in the care of a community. If they're retirees, that's your volunteer base.
Right.
People think you're volunteer based, and that's everything. I mean, every organization is needing volunteers, and students honestly don't. I mean, your daughter's in high school. They don't have a lot of time that they can, but they also don't have this career skills that senior volunteers have.
Yeah.
You definitely want them in your community.
That's
and
right.
Homeowners
and they give back to our schools in more ways than just property taxes.
Yeah.
We have a whole... Not to get back on, put my Winton Woods hat on, but we have a whole opportunity within the Winton Woods School District called the Academy of Global Studies. Both of my older daughters are in that academy. You have to have a certain number of community service hours to graduate and get your diploma. And they have a whole mentorship program where our folks in our community, our elderly Ohioans, a lot of P&G retirees, a lot of folks that still live in the community come in, believe it or not, at 7 a.m. on Friday mornings to mentor our students, right? And we want to keep them here. They give back in so many different ways, and we really just need to make sure that the state is doing the right thing. So I'm encouraging everyone, how can you advocate to make the homestead exemption better? First and foremost, contact your state representative and state senator. I've said it ad nauseum, ohiohouse.gov. You can put in your address, find out who your House rep is. Same thing on the state senator website, ohiosenate.gov. You can put in your address and see who your Ohio senator is. Blow their email inbox up, call them. Whatever you got to do, contact state house and state senate leadership as well, because they are ultimately the folks on the leadership team that are making the decisions about which bills are going to move through the legislative process and which ones won't. And then find your state elected officials also at findmydistrict.ohiosos.gov. So I've given you the state direct website. This is a more general one where you can find everybody as well. But very important to be in constant contact with them. All right, I'm going to switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about what our elderly Ohioans need and what we want to do for them to keep them in the community. This is called the PACE program, and I'm sure you've talked to someone at the Winton Woods City School District a lot about when we built our new buildings, we wanted to make sure we were LEED Gold and LEED Platinum, and our buildings were LEED certified green for the environment, right? This is a new fairly new program for financing of development projects in our county and in our state. So there was a bill that was passed to allow this kind of PACE program funding. It stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy, because we want to move our buildings towards being clean and green for our environment. We provide the administrative paperwork, if you will, for these developments across the county. Our staff is working with the developers and the municipalities to make sure that they're getting the financing that they need for their project. When I first took office back in April, I had a lot of business owners, business people, business leaders in the community come to me and say, you know what, our county is kind of lagging behind other counties. Some counties don't charge a fee to process this paperwork. Some counties charge a very, very smaller fee than what we are charging to do this paperwork. Can you help us out to make it more effective for us to do these green developments across the county? And so what we did, this is actually a combined fee that goes not only to my office as the auditor, but the treasurer as well. Our fee used to be 3%. We decreased it by half to 1.5% for all new PACE projects. So if you have a development that you're doing, whether it's here in the city of Forest Park or elsewhere in the county, know that this is a benefit for clean energy and for green projects that you're looking for, different tools in the toolbox for financing these projects. This is one of them that we control in the auditor's office, and that we have made a little bit easier for folks to do this.
And this kind of goes in the category of things you might not realize. You should go to that department page on the auditor site. We talked about the dogs.
Yeah.
Because we want to talk about dogs. But the PACE program, Property Assessed Clean Energy, it kind of didn't have a home. It sounds like. There's parts of county governments that if it doesn't fit all the way into one department, and it sounds like you just needed more efficiency in making it work for the people who wanted to take advantage of it.
That's right. And now we are more competitive with our neighboring counties. And hopefully that will spur more green development here in Hamilton County. That's why we wanted to make this a little bit more attractive for developers. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can get some more of those green projects. It's good for our environment, and it's good for the local economy.
Well, that sounds, so we'll clearly need to do another program to talk more about the PACE, because I feel like I have a lot of questions, but I know we're covering a lot right now.
Yeah.
So I think every single one of these slides can be an entire program, but we won't do that right now to you, because we want you to keep watching. Because owner occupancy credits. Let's talk about, you can say it better.
Yeah, so this is one of two tax credits or exemptions that the state offers that we administer in our office. So this one, instead of being an exemption like the homestead, this one is actually a real estate tax credit. So if you own a property here in Hamilton County and you live in it, it is your residence, your primary household. You need to go and search your property on my website. Make sure that the owner occupancy credit says yes. That means you're getting it on your property tax bill, and you're getting a little bit of a break in your property tax bill. If for some reason you live in and own your property and that is your primary residence and it says no, you are not getting it, contact the auditor's office. Email is right here, countyauditor@auditor.hamilton-co.org, and we will make sure you not only get the application, but my staff can help you fill it out if necessary, and then they'll get that filed and get that taken care of for you.
I like how easy that is to check, especially since we've already covered how to look up a property on the website.
Yes.
That we just look for a box, and if the box says yes, we're done, we can move on.
That's right.
If the box says no, we need to send you an email.
That's right.
I like that.
We like to keep it as simple and sweet as possible to make sure, again, that you're getting all of the benefits available to you as a property owner.
Now, we have talked about a lot. Some of this I know we'll have a chance. I'm looking forward to getting to go back and cover a little bit more. But I want to make sure that our viewers know how to reach out to you. We've talked about how to reach out to your state officials to cover, because that percent part doesn't come from the auditor's part.
Yeah.
We look all the way back through our slides. The part that's the assessment comes from you. The part that's the percent of the tax does not come from the auditor's office.
Yes.
but there's a lot of stuff that does. So let's make sure we give people different ways to contact you.
Yes, so please stay connected with us. We are releasing more and more information that we could fill up probably every single one of your county fair slots here if we kept coming back. But an easier way to stay connected with us is via social media. Again, we are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, those three. Our email is countyauditor@auditor.hamilton-co.org. Our phone number, 513-946-4000. And of course, our website, which is the most important piece of all of this that gives you all of this information and more that we went over today, is www.hamiltoncountyauditor.org.
I like that. That's easy too. Sometimes emails have a lot of parts to them, but the website, HamiltonCountyAuditor.org.
Yes.
I think that's not hard to type in.
That's
there
right.
was so much there. We didn't cover everything. We spent a lot of time on some spots, but then that meant we had to fly through some other ones. So definitely go to the website. Definitely send an email if you have questions.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back and just hit, as I like to do in all of our government programs, there's information in this program on how to reach out to your state officials, how to reach out to your county officials. You can easily find how to reach out to your municipal officials. Sometimes we feel like we don't have a voice in our government, and that's because we tend to see things on the really big global or national scale, and we feel like we're this big. When you are needing to connect to government, the antidote to that is local government. Connect to your county government. They are there. They are here, close by. They want to hear from you. Jessica Miranda just gave you an email address because you can use it. You can ask your questions. And if you didn't quite understand something that we covered, you can send an email or just want more information. And that goes for the county commissioners. That goes for your city council or your trustees or any of these different levels of government. So you do still have a voice. That's why Waycross is here to record these programs. And I just want to mention it again because we've covered a whole lot about the auditor's office, but there's a whole lot of things that you might have a voice that you want someone to hear. So check that state website we mentioned.
Yes.
Check all your county websites.
Yes.
You can use your voice.
That's right. And especially if you are too overwhelmed by federal level politics and what's happening in Washington, D.C., your state house is the most important body of government there is in your respective state, because states have rights and states pass policies that directly affect you, as you've seen, via the homestead exemption and so many other things we talked about. But please reach out to your state house legislators. They are the ones passing the policies, and your locally elected city, village, or township leaders and county leaders.
And as you talked about, formerly of the Great 28, each state house legislator has a pocket, and you're part of their pocket. So
That's right.
They do want to hear from you. And it also, it's not like they're hearing from an entire national pocket of everybody on the whole planet. They're hearing from their space, their constituents. So
That's right.
I just like to mention that in every program, and I feel like I hear a little bit more about people feel a little disconnected. So
they need to hear from you. That's for sure.
Thank you again, as always, for coming to the studio. Thank you for watching. That means you are making sure you're informed about what's going on at your county, and we'll see you next time.